Warning, the RCWR show with Lee Sanders is intended for a mature audience only. The following is an Infinity One Productions presentation, keeping it honest, insightful, and interactive. Covering the latest in wrestling and beyond since 2011. You're listening to the RCWR show. Now, your host, live from the nation's capital in Washington, D.C., Lee Sanders.
For Sunday night of December 20th, 2020. What is going on, y'all? Lee Sanders here, and you're checking out an all-new The RCWR show. Old Man Lee Week. It now concludes here tonight. In case you missed all the great programming that's gone down this week, or in case you didn't know, this week had marked my 40th birthday, as I celebrated it earlier this week, so culminated in some cool programmings, and I'll tell you a little bit more about what all has come about so far, but it's wrapping up tonight with our WWE TLC Tables, Ladders, and Cheers post-show. What the fuck was going on with that ending, man? So I gotta pose the question to you all. Tell me I did not just see that. Tell me I did not just see a man, a monster, set on fire before my very eyes. Tell me I did not just see somebody get killed off in storyline. I want to know what you guys have made of that main event match. Sound off. By the way, I do have a poll asking you guys, what did you think about tonight's WWE TLC pay-per-view? I want to know. Sound off. I got a poll up on Twitter at the RCWR show, also on YouTube at the RCWR show as well. For those of you watching on YouTube, need help navigating, just click on over to the communities tab on YouTube and you'll see the poll that way. I'll get to y'all's thoughts in a hot minute, see how you guys are voting so far. But what the hell normally I could go into a post show and I can just go, okay, pre-show, this match happened, that match happened, and we kind of just work our way to the main event. But, and we'll do that for those of you that like that particular order, but we got to talk about what the fuck did we just watch there with that main event match between Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt, the Firefly Inferno match. I mean, that was just crazy on so many levels, because you're looking at this in the key moments of the match, and you see that Bray Wyatt is able to get in that trademark mandible claw on Randy Orton. You're going, okay, two things is either going to happen right here. Either Randy Orton is going to pass out to that mandible claw as they were fighting outside of the ring, and Bray Wyatt puts in that mandible claw. First thing you're thinking, okay, Fiend is going to make Randy Orton pass out to that mandible claw, and then he's pretty much just going to ease him on over to the wall barriers, where that is where the fire is pretty much all over the place. He's going to set Randy Orton on fire that way, because we were told during this matchup that apparently, and I got to rely on you guys again, but apparently the way this match was to be won, you had to set your opponent on fire. If I am understanding this correctly, I believe. If not, let me know, but I could have sworn I heard the commentator say, hey, you gotta set your opponent on fire. Like, I know my girl heard that because she was watching this main event out of curiosity, and her emotions were so priceless because she watched off and on a little bit of this pay-per-view. Never mind people going through a wooden table. Never mind somebody getting hit with a steel chair or crashing through a ladder. Never mind a ladder being thrown at somebody's face. Nah. When you get right down to the heart of the matter, wait, this person is being set on fire? Oh my, that's no. Can they do that? That was her question. Can they do that? Like, anything goes in this particular match. Yeah, hun. But you're thinking, okay, mandible claw, that's going to be it. Or Randy's fighting it off. He's trying to do his best to fight off that mandible claw. He's still coherent. He's still conscious, but he's still gonna maybe somehow get set on fire. And then if you pick the third option, somehow Randy Orton's going to counter that, and it's just going to continue. You're like, if you went with the third option, kudos to you. But for me, I'm looking at these final moments, I'm going, well, okay, man, this could go either way. So we see Randy Orton counter that mandible claw, and pretty much pushes Bray Wyatt into that Inferno wall. Bray Wyatt gets set on fire. It felt like I was watching a Nightmare on Elm Street, so to speak. It felt like I was watching a combination of a Nightmare on Elm Street meets Castlevania Symphony of the Night meets Ghost Rider. Because if you'd have told me that, hey Lee, with regards to this Inferno match, you're going to be watching fiery freaking objects that's going to be thrown and tossed at people, I'm going like, what? Well, you're going to see a flaming belt? Like, huh? You're going to see a flaming pickaxe? Wait, huh? You're going to see a flaming rocking chair and damn near somebody getting set on fire as a result of sitting in that rocking chair. I'd go, what the fuck is going on here? Beautifully well executed. I'm not knocking the match. It was beautifully executed. But Bray Wyatt, the back of him gets set on fire. And you're going, okay, well, this has to be it. Randy Orton, at this point, he's hauled ass. He's pushed Bray Wyatt into that wall of fire. He's running back into the ring, watching it, kind of like your traditional horror classic film from back in the day, when you have successfully defeated the monster. And now you just take a step back and you're just watching that monster just succumb to its injuries, because you either set it on fire or you tricked it into following you across the swamp, but wait a minute, there's some type of a quicksand spot right here, and it wasn't prepared for that, and bye-bye, monster. One of those type of deals, or it follows you into a meat locker, and lo and behold, you came out on the other side, and you know how to close that meat locker, and the poor monster just freaking dies, being frozen to death. That's the end of the movie. Here's the end credits. We thought we were going to be getting some type of an ending like that. No. What we got instead was Bray Wyatt running his ass while his back is on fire, running into the ring, still trying to get him a piece of Randy Orton, and Randy Orton just out of nowhere, RKO. It's over. Lights out. No need to do a pinfall, no need to do a submission or anything like that, because again, the only way you can pretty much win this match, you gotta set your opponent on fire. So we're thinking, all right, this is it. Pay-per-view's over. Okay, that was relatively good, but in the back of my mind, I don't know about you guys, but in the back of my mind, I'm going, well, what is going on with my girl, the beautiful, the lovely Alexa Bliss? We have seen her play along here with Bray Wyatt / The Fiend with these mind manipulation games, this psychological warfare that they've been doing to Randy Orton over the course of several weeks. Where's Alexa Bliss? That's what you're wondering in storyline. But we didn't get Alexa Bliss involved in this match at all. At all. And we've missed her on WWE program in the past couple of weeks. I thought for sure she was going to make some type of an appearance here. Not sure what's going on. Hopefully she's okay. Everything's good. It's just, she wants to spend time with the family this holiday season. Hey, nothing wrong with that. You want a break? You want a break. Nothing wrong with that. But just from a storyline standpoint, I did miss her involvement in this. Was it really needed? No. The boys did just fine, especially with the way this was laid out. I'm sure if the late Pat Patterson was still around, he would have loved the way this match was booked, because it was laid out very beautifully. But, we think the match is over now that Bray Wyatt has been set on fire. He gets that RKO. All right, that's it. Go ahead, cue up the credits. Let's see what's coming on next on the WWE Network. No, we go a step further as Randy Orton decides, I'm not finished yet. Goes outside the ring, grabs a canister of gasoline. Boy, I've seen that canister way too many times when I've had to go into the shed out in the backyard of my house to grab one so I can put some gas in the lawnmower so I can do my thing with the grass and everything. I got a nice little plot of grass that I tend to take care of beginning spring, going into mid-fall. Typically I go out every couple of weeks and everything. So I know that red canister all too well. Who doesn't? Who hasn't had that same type of trip that I'm talking about, going to the shed and all that? So he gets in there, he pours that son of a bitch all over Bray Wyatt. You're going, wait a minute. Yeah, and me at this point, I'm actually yelling at the TV, and I'm doing the JR voice. For the love of God, no, don't do it, no. By God, that man has a family. That man has a baby. That man has Alexa Bliss. For the love of God, no, don't do it, no. And he's just setting him up with the gasoline. Lights a freaking match. And good God Almighty. Good God Almighty. Lit that match. Bray Wyatt got fucking set on fucking fire. And that was it for Bray Wyatt. As we saw Randy Orton just stood victoriously, hitting his pose and everything. I mean, he hear voices in his head. They tell him these terrible things to do and all that. Yeah, well, you know what? My man went medieval tonight. I ain't never seen such diabolical evilness in all of my fucking life. And I gotta tell you something. I enjoyed every single minute of that match. I really did. I was a little bit worried because when this match came on to pretty much end the pay-per-view, I couldn't help but say to myself, wait a minute. We're ending it with this. I'm not really sure if that makes sense. Really did. I was a little bit sorry about that. I'm not really sure if that makes a lot of sense for that match. For that match to be ending, But now that we've seen how it's ended, it's kind of like, okay, nah, you know what? I'm actually okay. It's all right. If we're going to end it like that, that's cool. Big ass smile on my face. That for me, I got to tell you, with the exception of the Roman Reigns taking on Kevin Owens, by the way, guys, I do see everything that you all are saying in the chat. So please don't think I'm ignoring you. Even to you trolls out there, heads up. We do have a moderator or two that's watching the chat right along with me. So we are quickly removing any stupid little comments and all that other stupid shit, right? Like, everybody wants their 5 seconds of fame to be acknowledged and everything. And it's like, go fucking play your, I don't know, Rubik's Cube or Overwatch or whatever fucking Captain Crunch. I don't know what the fuck you kids are playing these days. I'm playing the real shit. You guys are playing some. Anyway, but other than the Roman Reigns taking on the Kevin Owens, I gotta tell you, that for me, I would dare say for WWE, it was a really good match of the year candidate. And we will be going over match of the year candidates on Monday's RCWR show. I got my list comprised. It's already ready to go, but I was not expecting to add any of the matches from TLC to that list tonight. And I got to tell you, the Firefly Inferno match between Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt, that was without a doubt, it's definitely a match of the year candidate. I don't know if that would personally be my winner for WWE, but it's definitely a match of the year candidate. I mean, sound off. Let me know. So far, I'm seeing the comments here, and I'm seeing a lot of you guys, you had enjoyed the Inferno match. Well executed. I mean, it was well booked. You can't go wrong. The pacing of it and all that, it was great. It felt like a real freaking fight. I love the fact that it didn't just stay contained to the ring. I would dare say that this was really the first real time here since WWE has been in the Thunderdome thus far that they decided, you know what, let's go ahead and let's utilize the environment here in this Thunderdome. I mean, we know we got all these monitors and stuff floating around here, but let's try to see if we can do something a little creative without damaging these monitors. And I gotta say, just all of those elements that we just talked about a couple of minutes ago, they did a beautiful job in executing it. I mean, they really did. I did excellent tonight, by the way. I'm thinking about actually, no, I didn't. I was flawless. I gotta be honest with you guys. I was flawless on every single match prediction that I made Thursday night. By the way, in case you guys didn't check it out, Thursday night, I was actually a special guest on Wrestling Soup, where I teamed up once again with my good friend, my brother-in-arms, my amigo, Anthony Missionary Thomas. So if you guys did not get a chance to check that out, please, after you get done with this episode, of course, go piggy on back, check it out, wherever you get your podcast, check it out. But it was an awesome show. We did that Thursday night. We were going over predictions, and I pretty much, every single one, with the exception of that Inferno match, I didn't get that one right. I wanted for Bray Wyatt to go over. I just felt that, and if you listen Thursday, one of the questions I brought up was, how long has it been since Bray Wyatt was drafted to Monday Night Raw? It's barely been, 3 months? And my point was, okay, if we're really trying to make this feel as though it's a fresh start and everything, then, Bray Wyatt, he really would benefit more from this win. He really needs this, was my argument. Randy Orton, he could afford to take the L because he's Randy Orton. He can easily bounce back and everything. And I thought about the whole timeline history. I thought about the fact that when Bray Wyatt first courted Randy Orton, it was Randy Orton at the end that, just playing the mind games. I'm just fucking with you there. And it was kind of going back and forth there. And I was kind of hoping that this go round, Bray would get the upper hand. If it meant that these two would lock up again, be it at the very next pay-per-view, a couple of months from now, I totally was okay with that. But I really wanted for Bray to get this, especially with this whole Fiend gimmick that he has, because it's quite entertaining, I have to say, especially now that he's back over on Raw. Now the Firefly segments, with the exception of what they did with the last Firefly for the go home to TLC, that was honestly, since he's been back on Raw, has been the weakest thus far. And I think we all can be in agreement of that. But overall, his Firefly segments, they're fucking awesome. They're entertaining. You stick around. You want to see what he's going to say and everything. But I really felt that The Fiend, this was a key milestone victory. He needed it. Maybe kind of catapult him for that next feud and everything. But now that we've seen what we've seen tonight, I mean, it's safe to say The Fiend has been killed off. Has he not? Or is The Fiend this supernatural, super powerful, Mike Myers, Freddy Krueger, Jason type of creature that, he just has multiple lives. We're going to see this freaking creature pop up again at some point because he is, of all things, eternal. He is immortal. He will continue on. You can't help but wonder that. I mean, definitely now that we're getting ready to go into probably a monumental WWE Raw, which we'll talk a little bit about later, previewing and everything. But you can't help but wonder, okay, so what's next here? Where do we go from here? That was fantastic. I love that on so many levels. It definitely gave you a little bit of a Kane Undertaker vibe. You were watching right here. No shame in feeling as though you were having shades of Bad Blood 1997, so to speak. There's nothing wrong if you were having those type of flashbacks. Great. If this was a pay-per-view that you went out and said, I don't want to watch this, I haven't really been enjoying what's been going on with the WWE product these past several months, feels like a chore to watch WWE, or maybe you say, you know what, I don't particularly care for Raw, Roman Reigns is doing all right on SmackDown, but I don't care for SmackDown, I'll watch NXT. If you decided you did not want to check out the TLC pay-per-view tonight, you really owe it to yourselves to check out the pay-per-view because overall, it was a quite entertaining pay-per-view, I have to say. Hey, before we get ready to go into the full card here, because I don't think there's anything else we need to revisit on Fiend Bray Wyatt taking on Randy Orton. Is there? If there is, please let me know, and I'll definitely circle back later on. But let's see what you guys are saying in the polling results right now. Let's go to Twitter first and let's see what you guys are saying. Welcome one, welcome all, by the way. You're checking out the RCWR show. We're covering WWE TLC tables, ladders, and chairs. Oh my. It's your 2020 pay-per-view recap for this pay-per-view event. We're streaming live right now on the Twitter, the Periscope, the Facebook, the Twitch, the YouTube. Use the keywords, the RCWR show. Over on Twitter, we're going to now. And it looks like a mini mall. Hey, on Twitter. We'll ask you a simple question. How would you rate WWE TLC? Sound off. Right now, we have 4% of you saying thumbs down. I repeat, we have 4% of you giving the pay-per-view a thumbs down. Meanwhile, 96% of you are giving the pay-per-view a thumbs up. That's on Twitter. Let's see what's going on with you guys on YouTube. And remember, you can go to youtube.com/the RCWR show. Click on the communities tab and you can cast your vote that way. Early, right now, 100% of the votes that's coming in are giving the pay-per-view a thumbs up. Still early on YouTube, though. That's very early. So go ahead, sound off, click there. And, hey, welcome all, please. You're new, welcome. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit that like or that heart, share, all that good stuff. Helps out tremendously. I really do not even need to refer to my notes for any of these matches. All I need to do is just look at the match card and I can pretty much flow from there. So let me pull up the match card here and we're going to go right at it. There was a pre-show matchup. Sadly, I did not watch the pre-show hour. Y'all know me by now. That's been checking out the show for a good number of years. I love my football. Sundays, when it comes to my football, unless there is a blowout game on, I'm just not checking it out. I will gladly, especially if there's a wrestling pay-per-view on, I'll switch to it. Even if it's a pre-show joint, I'll switch to that instead. But they had some pretty good football games on earlier today. Not to go off on a rant about football, because I'll definitely talk a lot more about the football action on Monday's RCWR show. But Redskins taking on the Seattle Seahawks. I almost gave up once again. I was about to change the channel, but my girl is a big Redskins fan. I tolerate the Redskins because her dad, her mom, they're all Redskins fans, so I tolerate it. But trust me when I say I love it. I love it when the Washington football team, I love it when they lose, but to see them come back and get it oh so close there against the Seattle Seahawks, I thought that was a great game. Kansas City Chiefs, if I'm not mistaken, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but if I'm not mistaken, Kansas City Chiefs were taking on the Saints. That was a really good game that I saw. There was another game that was on. I think it was Dallas Cowboys. I forgot who they were playing. That was good. I mean, so there was definitely some really good games that was on earlier. So when it came time for the pre-show, I sadly didn't get a chance to check it out. The one match that was on the pre-show, Big E, Daniel Bryan, Chad Gable, and Otis. They defeated King Corbin, Sami Zayn, Cesaro, Shinsuke Nakamura. It was a 8-man tag team match. And based on what a lot of people were saying on social media with regards to that pre-show matchup, a lot of folks were pretty impressed by Big E. And right down to the point, some wanted to see him maybe get a Intercontinental Championship opportunity against Sami Zayn. And sure enough, before the TLC pay-per-view was over, I believe we heard it at some point during the second hour, this Friday night on SmackDown, Big E will have a title shot against Sami Zayn for that Intercontinental Championship. I'm so happy to hear that. I legitimately am, and I'm hoping that Big E can do the unthinkable and begin to build upon a successful singles career path in WWE. What a great way to really kick off 2021. You know what I'm saying, folks? A great way to kick off 2021, new Intercontinental Champion and everything. I've always had big expectations for Big E and everything. And look, as much as I had enjoyed New Day, for me, it just started to feel as though it was running its course. I think New Day is now kind of at that point where, all right, if you're going to continue on with this stable, add a couple of new faces to it. Nothing wrong with that, especially if you want to go on ahead and actually keep it rocking and rolling. And to Manu in the chat saying, are you actually seeing these comments? Yes, I am. If you're just now tuning in and you didn't hear what I had said about 10 minutes ago, I'm seeing all the comments that are coming in. I'm just trying to find that right spot where I can get in some of you all's comments when it's relevant to the topic that we're talking about. Now, what I will throw out there is this to kind of get you guys involved. If you guys did see the pre-show match there, as I just mentioned, it was an 8-man tag team matchup. Let me know what you had thought about that 8-man tag team matchup, and if you recommend that it's something folks should go out of their way and check out, as nowadays you are able to hop up on the WWE network and you're actually able to watch the pre-show kickoff. So you guys sound off and let everybody else that are going to be checking this out on demand, maybe on the downloads, let them know. And because they'll piggy on back, they'll read what you guys are saying and everything, and try to see if maybe it's something they should check out or not. But I'm happy to hear that Big E is going to be getting this Intercontinental Championship opportunity. Look, I mean, if he doesn't get it this first go round on SmackDown, honestly, I hope as we make our way into the Royal Rumble pay-per-view event, I hope something culminates in him getting that singles run. As far as the Intercontinental Champion goes, he's more deserving of it. I think he's finally put the pieces together. Why now? This is a completely different Big E compared to when we first saw him with Dolph Ziggler, AJ Lee, feuding with John Cena and everything. By the way, excuse me, this edition of the RCWR show is brought to you by a belated birthday present. I actually got it on my birthday, but it's kind of belated now because I'm still drinking it. It's a big ass can. Brought to you in part by Dogfish Head IPA. If you're looking for a look, this is not a paid endorsement, by the way. So Dogfish Head, hey, holler at your boy. All right, holler at your boy. You and me could do some really good business. Holler at your boy. All right. Dogfish Head IPA. If you're looking for a really, really cool kick-ass IPA, I recommend Dogfish Head. I personally recommend the 60-minute IPA or the 90-minute IPA. This is actually from their restaurant. These type of cans, I mean, these cans are fucking huge. The only way you can get these kind of cans, you actually have to go to their restaurant. A lot of people don't know that, oh, wait, the restaurant, like, that's pretty much how it started, and their IPAs were so well known, started to build a legend of its own there amongst communities. It was, hey, why not bottle this and sell it in the stores? And ultimately, that's what happened there. So check it out. Good shit. I got to take a swig, by the way. Good shit right there. Actual pay-per-view we go now. Talking TLC. Kicking it off. Drew McIntyre defeating AJ Styles in the match for the WWE Championship. This was a tables, ladders, and chairs match for the WWE Championship. But wait, if you're curious and you were wondering, hey, wonder if Miz is gonna possibly cash in that Money in the Bank briefcase. Is he gonna be successful with that Money in the Bank briefcase? Yes, Miz did cash in that Money in the Bank briefcase. Let's first address that. He did cash in the Money in the Bank briefcase. However, Miz was not successful, as Drew McIntyre, still your WWE champion. Look, before Miz was inserted into this match, I'm a little bit sour on this match, and I'm going to explain to you the reason why without being long-winded. So just stay with me here. Stay the course. Just follow me. Hear me out. Because we might not agree on this one, and that's okay. But just hear me out personally. Before Miz was inserted in this match, just with Drew McIntyre and AJ Styles alone, was actually a pretty good match. Now, what was kind of hilarious was you're looking at Drew and then you're looking at AJ and you're going, man, AJ almost kind of looks like a dwarf compared to Drew McIntyre here. But these guys gelled extremely well. I enjoyed this match slash feud a lot more than what was going on there with Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton. That's just me personally, to each its own. I felt something was lacking there between Drew and Randy. That's just me personally, but to each its own. But Drew and AJ, yeah, I mean, they were clicking in this. They were. But then Miz, thinking that he has a golden opportunity here, while Drew McIntyre was down for the count. All right, this is it. This is the moment. Cash in the Money in the Bank briefcase. Boom, become champion. So he cashes it in. It's official. This match, instead of it being a one-on-one match, it now becomes a freaking triple threat match. You're going, okay, this is a very interesting element here. Okay, let's see what happens here. So Miz starts to climb up the ladder. Owens, AJ's bodyguard, comes in the ring, and he just freaking pulls Miz on down, and Miz just essentially kind of like falls in his lap, and he's just kind of like a little baby at this point. Owens just calmly walks on over and just drops Miz outside of the ring. Miz just goes crashing through a table. That's it for him. Morrison, on the other hand, he comes up from behind with a steel chair. He hits Owens in the back with it, thinking he's going to do some serious damage. Well, that chair, it pretty much broke in half, so to speak. Owens is just, that kind of tickled. What the hell was that? Was that something blowing past my ear? Somebody trying to blow me a kiss? What the hell was that? You know, that's how he's kind of acting. He's not saying anything. And I mean, just the way he essentially no-sold that chair shot to the back. I love that. I love that. He just turns around real slowly. And the way he's approaching Morrison, you know, inch by inch, step by step, you know, I'm thinking of a poem there. Forgive me. You know, and you got Morrison. Now, see, it started to get a little bit hokey dokey right here and a bit overkill, because Morrison does this chair shot. And he just falls on the ground so many goddamn times. You're going, really, dude? Are you that fucking traumatized? Really? Really? I know this is a big guy and all, but you faced big guys before. Like, the fans know this. So are you really going to be in storyline that clumsy on your feet that you're going to be stumbling this many times? And I appreciate WWE really trying to sell Owens as this big treehouse of a monster. I get that. But for me, that was just too much hokey dokey bullshit. It was just too corny for me. Owens, on the other hand, why was he walking so gingerly? Why was he walking so goddamn slow, like he only has one fucking speed? We've seen him over the weeks. He's got speed to him. Nobody said he had to run. You could have just had him in a haste, walk a bit quicker to try to get to Morrison. All that for me was just too much hokey dokey bullshit. That's just me personally. All right, to each its own. Now, despite that hokey dokey bullshit, action continues on. Now at this point, we got a ladder set up. Drew McIntyre climbs up on the ladder. We also have, who was it? Was it Miz? We got Miz who climbs up. And, you know, they're going back and forth at each other, right? You're like, okay, wow, okay, this is all right. So we got a back and forth on top of the ladder. AJ is in this mix somehow. I think he ended up, I think it was either AJ Styles, or maybe I actually got my guys mixed up. Maybe it was actually AJ Styles, and then it ended up being, I'm trying to think who pushed the ladder with both of those guys. It kind of feels like Drew was the one that eventually got up and had pushed the ladder with both those guys on, sent them crashing. Now, I remember he did a Claymore kick to somebody, sets up the ladder once again. You're thinking, okay, so this kind of looks a little close here. Maybe Miz might be able to pull this off. No, Miz wasn't able to pull this off. Drew McIntyre successfully was able to climb up to the top. get his WWE championship. Drew, still your WWE champion. Look, to each its own. Me personally, I'm not feeling the whole Highlander, Braveheart championship reign so far of Drew McIntyre. It's just not doing anything for me. All right? That makes me a hater. Hey, whatever. That's your interpretation, right? Now, if I'm a hater, I'm a hater. But for me, it does nothing as far as excite me. It does nothing as far as enticing me. It just does not do anything for me as a fan. Because Drew McIntyre, for the year of 2020, for a lot of wrestling fans, including myself, he has essentially been the COVID champion. You know, it's kind of like almost pulling that line from The Dark Knight, where The Dark Knight, Batman, you know, is running from the police at the end of the movie, and Commissioner Gordon's kid, why is Batman running? He hasn't done anything wrong. You know, it's kind of like one of those things. It's like, oh, you know, he's not the hero that, you know, we need right now. You know, he's kind of like Drew McIntyre. You know, he's not exactly the champion that we need right now, but he can endure everything that's coming at him and everything. He's going to learn how to take it. You know, he's got to continue to be groomed and everything, you know? So for me, I tolerate what's going on here with the direction of Drew McIntyre, but, you know, I just can't help but wonder if the fans were back in attendance in a perfect world, we all got our vaccinations, the COVID vaccinations, and we're back in the arenas again, full capacity in a perfect world. I just can't help but wonder if Drew would still be champion this very day. I just can't help but wonder that, because you just see what's being said about Drew in forums. You see what's being said about him on social media. You make your rounds listening to other podcasts. Look, there's no denying it. He's got a phenomenal look. I mean, he's definitely has the look down and everything. But there is something that is just... something is missing. There's that one key ingredient that is missing. I don't know if it's maybe a career-defining match that Drew McIntyre is lacking in, that one key defining match / that one key defining rivalry that will put him and cement him at that tier level of a Roman Reigns, of a Triple H, of a John Cena. I don't know if he can ever get to that level. You know, your guess is as good as mine as far as what the future holds in store for him. But probably the biggest takeaway that I had from this match was the fact that, let me see if I got this straight. We have Otis become Mr. Money in the Bank. And yet, eventually, he loses this Money in the Bank briefcase to The Miz. We're all under the impression, those of us that have been following the career of The Miz ever since he stepped foot in the WWE, we remember him from Real World and all of that. I'm definitely one of those few. You go, okay, well, maybe WWE is trying to get back to basics here with The Miz. Maybe they are finally just kind of like with Kofi Kingston. Okay, you know what? Miz has always been a good, steady hand for us. He's been a reliable hand. Anytime we need some type of a media interview done, he's always there. If we need a WWE star to step up to the plate, we need them to go be a guest star for Good Morning America or go host SNL or go do this radio show. Miz is the man. Need somebody for a movie? Miz is the man. Need somebody to co-host your TV show or little award show? Miz is the man. You see what he's been doing with his Miz and Miz's show, you're going, okay, relatively good numbers. There's a good steady audience that are tuning in for The Miz, that actually like The Miz. Okay, cool. And you just kind of felt, okay, well, maybe the powers that be are having a second change of heart here with The Miz. And all right, okay, well, let's see what happens. He's going to be that fucking... I've told you guys repeatedly over the years. Miz is one of those type of guys. You get him in a memorable feud due largely in part to the storyline, and put him in a damn good position where when it comes to him on the microphone, he can just fucking go and just watch the sparks fly. We've seen him do it time and time and time and time again. So it was okay if you were kind of like me and you were going, okay, I guess I can be a little optimistic this time when it comes to The Miz. No, but it goes from Otis to The Miz, and we essentially have squandered this and flushed it down the toilet in one night. It's like, okay, so we did this switcheroo and all that. We did it for nothing. It just, what went down tonight with The Miz and all that, it just went over like a big wet fart. And I just can't help but wonder, so, what's next? Are we maybe going to see some type of a scenario come about where The Miz is going to take some type of action where he blames Morrison for the unsuccessful cash-in? Are we maybe going to see some seeds planted where Miz and Morrison no more, where Morrison now gets built up as a top babyface, kind of similar to what he was doing in Impact Wrestling? Do we now maybe start to see him finally go on his own path and recapture those great days he was having in Impact and Lucha Underground? Is that the Morrison that we're going to start to see rise? Or is it still going to be business as usual for Miz and Morrison? I would like to believe that there is something brewing instead of just what we got tonight, because that was just very, is all I have to say. That's the kindest thing that I can say. And yes, Strack, AJ and Omos, it's Omos. It's not Amos. It's not like John Amos from Good Times. It's Omos. O-M-O-S. Omos. He says that they are a good pairing. I would read the rest. Actually, you know what? It actually looks like, because usually Strack, when he puts a sentence together, it's usually structured kind of, and I have a hard time reading what he's saying. But this actually looks like it's pretty, I'm just skimming it right now. It actually looks like it's pretty clean, so I can actually read it all the way. He says that he thinks AJ and Omos are a good pairing because if Omos was paired with someone else, he wouldn't look that big. We do not know if he's 7'3". Actually, I beg to differ. You could pair him up with, under the right circumstance, you could pair him up with a Dolph Ziggler. You could pair him up with a Daniel Bryan. You could pair him. Oh my God! Just imagine if you still had vegan heel Daniel Bryan running around and he had acquired the services of Omos. That would be fucking epic right there, wouldn't it? You can pair him up with essentially anybody that is nowhere near his freaking height. But I get the point that you're making when it's all said and done, and I agree with you. It's very important that for a guy like Omos, that if you're trying to get him over as this tall, menacing figure and all that, it is very important as far as, okay, well, every time this guy is coming out with AJ Styles, who all is going to be surrounded by Omos? Because last thing you want to do is have Big Show out there, and especially when you're trying to get Omos over. Like, nah, that's not exactly smart. So I must say they have been booking Omos pretty smart so far. Let's keep it rocking and rolling, my pretty babies. Next matchup: Sasha Banks defeating Carmella to retain the SmackDown Women's title. Let me tell you something here. I have been out of the limelight when it comes to SmackDown. I've essentially, for the past couple of weeks, just been hopping on YouTube, and I've just been checking out the Roman Reigns stuff. Because as you guys know that listen to the show on a regular basis, I love me some unhinged Roman Reigns. That is how I've been dubbing him. Unhinged Roman Reigns. And that's pretty much it. Now, I did manage to also see a little bit of what was going on with Carmella and everything. And I particularly, okay, she's back. Yeah. Whatever. I still feel indifferent. But I did check out, and I'll talk a lot more about this on Monday's RCWR show. I did see the Talking Smack joint, and Booker T essentially carried the hell out of Carmella, and the way Carmella stood her ground. Look, the fact that people are going, man, was that a fucking shoot? Was that legit? Like, man, she really didn't like what Booker had said about her there, huh, man? Look, for all we know, that might have been something where Booker pulled Carmella to the side in the back and said, hey, you make sure, honey, you bring, or sister, you make sure you bring your A game tonight on Talking Smack. You dig? Because I'm going to come at you real hard. I'm going to say some stuff that's going to make you pissed. And I want you to take that level of anger and I want you to spin it into the best promo on my black ass that you can spin it. You dig? Hey, if that's how Booker came at, I wouldn't be surprised if maybe he did a little something. Just didn't tell her, hey, this is what I'm going to say. But I want you to be ready. I want you to bring it. You dig? I wouldn't be surprised if he came at her like that. I love that, but still it was like, okay, well, that's one good night right there, particularly. Okay, that's got the social media impressions and everything. Let's see what happens when it comes to this match. And I got to tell you something. I got to tell you something. No bullshit. Been watching Carmella for a long time. Her career in the WWE goes as far back as NXT. I remember watching her like right before she got paired up with Enzo Amore and Big Cass. And I gotta tell you, from that period to when she finally got moved up on the main roster to now, Carmella has come a long fucking way. A long fucking way. What I saw tonight, I gotta tell you, because this was officially my first time watching Carmella since she's been back on SmackDown this go round. I knew with the little vignettes, and you're like, who is this? Some people were thinking it was Sonya Deville. I always knew it was Carmella. And then what really sealed the deal was when some of you wrestling fans out there, you guys are freaking good when you want to be, man, with the Photoshop and zooming in and all that. You guys were really clever when you looked at her arm and was like, look, there's that little tattoo right there. That's Carmella. She's the mystery person. Sure enough, it was Carmella. But even at that, I haven't seen really anything other than clips on YouTube. So I really hadn't gotten a good gauge on what's been going on with Carmella. What I saw of Carmella tonight, I saw a Carmella that was booming, blasting with personality, commanding personality. What I saw of Carmella tonight was mad fucking swag. She came out there like she has been a wrestling veteran for decades. What I saw of Carmella tonight, I saw a girl, again, Sasha Banks, that carried respectfully her own fucking weight. This was not one of those type of matches where, okay, yeah, I'm going to take an ass whooping. I'm not going to really do too much on the offense. No. Carmella went into this match. Look, if she had a chip on her shoulders and wanted to prove, hey, she proved it to me. Because for the longest time, I will admit it, and I will always admit when I'm wrong, unlike some of my colleagues that's out there. And that's not throwing any shade at any of my friends or colleagues. That's not throwing shade at all. I'm sure you guys know, you check out dirt sheet websites and all that, and you got some people, they just, when they make a mistake, they don't know how to take self-accountability, as I like to say, and say, hey, I was wrong. Hey, I was wrong. Took her a minute, but she finally stringed it all together. And what I saw tonight was, man, if Carmella keeps up everything that she was doing tonight, if she keeps all of that up, this is going to be a girl that definitely, this is going to be a woman. Let me put some respect on this woman's name and all that. This is going to be a woman that definitely will follow in the ranks of a Charlotte Flair, will definitely follow in the ranks of a Sasha Banks, could definitely follow in the ranks of a Asuka, could definitely follow in the ranks of a Ronda Rousey and all that. I felt that what I saw thus far of her career tonight. And I'm not over exaggerating. I wish I could sit here and tell you guys, but again, you're talking to somebody that remembers her stuff down in NXT, way before NXT even came to the USA Network. So trust me when I say, because you can take what I'm saying to the bank and you can cash it, it's valid. If I'm telling you guys, hey, this girl's come a long way. If you disregarded her in the past, you need to start paying attention to her now, especially if you are from that core audience that says, well, look, we ain't got no Ronda Rousey right now. We ain't got no Becky Lynch right now. Man, the women's division, it's kind of hurting right now, man. We ain't really got nobody we can kind of get behind and fucking root. Carmella is the one you definitely want to be paying attention to. The work that she's been doing as a heel thus far, I love it. I love it. Sasha Banks, for me, never really got over. She never really got over as a face. I didn't take her seriously as a face. I didn't particularly care about her as a heel. And I think a large part of that has nothing to do with her. She hasn't done anything wrong. At the end of the day, she's going out there and she's doing what's being asked of her to do. But I think that the Sasha Banks down from NXT to the main roster, very different. Very different, you know, and there's a lot that's still similar from what she was doing in NXT, but there's a lot that's totally different, you know, but so for me personally, Sasha Banks, right down to the point, when I hear her music, I always put it on mute. You look, phenomenal athlete, great in-ring competitor, no doubt about that. But as far as the face heel, there's nothing that I latch on to whenever she has supposedly been a face or whenever she's supposedly been a heel. I think about this feud that she was in with Bayley recently. I'm sorry, but I never, and this isn't me being a cold-hearted bastard, but I never felt sympathetic towards Sasha Banks ever when she was getting her ass kicked by Bayley. That during the summer, I never felt compassion. It's like, okay, well, if I'm supposed to start feeling compassion to the point I'm now supposed to be rooting on Sasha Banks, like, I'm sorry, it's not happening. If anything, I'm rooting Bayley on because, hey, I'm seeing a new layer to Bayley. I'm liking this. More, please. Let's see how far we can take this with Bayley. What despicable, heinous acts is she going to do next? Was my question. I didn't care what was going on with Sasha Banks. And to this day, I still feel that Bayley should have been the champion. But with the work that Carmella has been putting in, I mean, Carmella is easily becoming the second woman on the roster over on the SmackDown side as far as being a main antagonist and a serious threat for the SmackDown title there, the SmackDown Women's title. Yeah, she is sliding into that role and number perfectly, right down to the point. If you were to tell me that by Royal Rumble, Carmella is going to become the SmackDown Women's Champion, I would tell you I'm not surprised. That's how impressed I've been with her work. That's how impressed I've been with her work. I see a question being asked about Rhea Ripley and stuff with regards to main roster and all that. I'll give you guys a little bit of a teaser later on because we do have to preview Raw, and I'm going to leave it at that. But let's keep rocking and rolling because after all, you know, I don't want to be here all night. I mean, look, I love that you guys that tune in regularly, you like to hear me and my thoughts and all of that, but there's no reason why we need to have this be a long-winded show when we're going to come right back on Monday night. And typically we do 2 hours on Monday night because we get into a lot of wrestling headlines and all that and some non-wrestling headlines. But let's just for now kind of keep the focus on the pay-per-view. But once again, Carmella, Sasha Banks, my hands off to both women. That was a damn good, impressive match. I was damn impressed by Carmella's execution, just overall. Bona fide superstar in this one. And if I were to create a category as far as award for reinventing themselves successfully. And I actually might add that category to this year's year-end awards. I think I would hands down give it to Carmella for the women's side, definitely. Next match, Hurt Business, Cedric Alexander, Shelton Benjamin. They defeated the New Day's Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods in the tag team match to become your new WWE Raw Tag Team Champions. First of all, hats off to all four men in this tag match. If you guys had listened to me on Soup this past Thursday, I said Hurt Business I have been enjoying. Big fan of their work. I think, to kind of quote my exact words, they're one of my main highlights of the night on Monday Night Raw, of the few good highlights from Raw. I mean, their chemistry, I love everything about them. And the feud that they've been having with the New Day, I've been enjoying it. Yet at the same time, I pointed out as I was offering predictions, I said, if you don't pull the trigger now on the Hurt Business, because now it feels that the stars are perfectly aligned, and this would be the moment here, especially if you want to create some new wave going into 2021. If you're not going to crown the Hurt Business with the tag titles now, then when? You know, it's like you see all the great buzz that they're getting online and everything. You don't pull the trigger now. It's like, why are we doing this feud then? You know, New Day, we get it. You know, we know about New Day. As soon as we hear the name New Day, one of the first things that we think about is the multiple times that these guys have been tag team champions. That's one of the things that first comes to mind. We also think about Kofi, a WWE World Heavyweight Champion and everything. So, to my point, yeah, you know what? If we're trying to build up the tag division, yeah, you know what? But most importantly, we need for there to be the right tag team that can come along and essentially, okay, well, you know what? Hurt Business has fit that mold and then some. They have easily slid into that glove. It's fit them so damn well. How can you not like the Hurt Business? I mean, seriously, how can you not like the Hurt Business? This is essentially the black version of Evolution, if you will. I mean, if you really kind of take a step back and you think about it, I'm not saying that this person is the Triple H, this person is Batista. That I'm not saying any of that at all. Just if you really just kind of stop and think about it. And for some people may say, I'm not really sure about Evolution. Maybe that's a bad one to use, Lee. If you maybe wanted to say almost a black version of the Four Horsemen, I think y'all would probably say ding, 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 ding. Yeah, that's the one right there. I mean, how can you not like this right now? I mean, they're like one of the hottest things going for WWE, one of the hottest things going on right now for Raw. Got no problem with this. I think the right tag team went over. Look, Xavier Woods is about to start getting real freaking busy very soon. As we all know, he's got that job now with G4. And I would imagine that there's probably going to be, I'm very curious to see how his schedule is going to be once he slides in G4 and then WWE. I'm very curious, is he successfully going to be able to balance both things out? You know, what's going to happen right there? Or has something been worked out in a way where G4 is going to have not just access to Xavier thanks to WWE, but they're going to be able, WWE that is, they're going to have this gateway to G4 where their talent such as AJ Styles, Mia Yim, and Cesaro, and all the other gamers there, okay, you guys can just slide over there, do some stuff with G4 while partnering up there with Xavier. You know, kind of have that going in the back of your mind there and kind of peep that out in the coming year. But I'm curious to see how that's going to be working out for him. But I would think his role on WWE programming is going to be slightly reduced a little bit. So Hurt Business coming along right here. Perfect timing right here. And then think about the rear view mirror. Just kind of have this going in the back of your mind for a little bit. We've seen Matt Riddle try to talk to Jeff Hardy. Who else has he tried to speak to so far? Seems like maybe didn't he pitch something to Keith Lee? I could be wrong, but I know he definitely pitched himself to Jeff Hardy. Eventually, I can see Matt Riddle doing something in the tag division. I can definitely see him teaming up with somebody, because remember, he's got some unfinished business there with the Hurt Business. So whether that means he's able to eventually get the one up in the feud against Lashley, become the new United States champion, or he becomes a tag champion, I just have a feeling we're just starting to see things get popping with Riddle there in the Hurt Business. So there's a lot of interesting elements that can happen with that, but great matchup. Right team win over. Got no problem with that. Asuka and her mystery opponent teaming up to take on Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler, tag team match for the women's tag team titles. Called it beautifully on Thursday. I said Charlotte Flair. Makes all the sense in the world that Charlotte Flair turns out to be Asuka's tag team partner. I was very quick to bring up the fact that on Raw, we saw a commercial where it's the return of the second season for Straight Up Steve Austin. Charlotte Flair was one of those guests. I believe the show is going to be returning around the second week of January. So for me, I kind of had that in the back of my mind when I was offering predictions, and I just felt, you know what? Timing feels right, especially with Charlotte getting ready to pop up on Straight Up Steve Austin. Why not? Why not have Charlotte Flair pop up at TLC? Turns out she's the mystery partner of Asuka. Makes a lot of sense. And for me, not only did I double down on that, but I also said new tag team champions as a result. I also called look for some type of interference from Lana as far as trying to extract some type of revenge on Nia and Baszler for the brutal attack that they did to her on this past Monday's Raw. Well, we didn't get Lana, but if I remember it right, I believe she was advertised for this coming Monday's Raw. We'll see. But I believed I saw a graphic and I heard something, so we'll see what happens. But Asuka, Charlotte Flair did in fact return. Looks great. It kind of looked as though she was wearing less makeup this go round, which got a lot of people going, what's wrong with her face? What's going on? Did she get surgery again? What's going on with her face? Dude, her face. What the fuck is going on? She looks weird. And I'm looking at her face and I'm just honestly saying to people, no, she's totally fine. She's just wearing a little bit less makeup. You're used to seeing her so caked up with the makeup there and dark eyeliners and all this other weird shit going on. No, she's kind of scaled it back just a little bit. No, she looks fine. She looks better than ever. The other thing I noticed about Charlotte, I can't believe it was the face that people were focusing on. For me, it was how she was looking physically. She doesn't have as much bulk as we remember when we last saw of her. And that's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing, mind you. But she used to look more bulkier. She used to look more chiseled, more well-defined. This go round, it kind of seems as though she's sacrificed a bit of the bulk to be more athletically fit, to kind of essentially maybe have a little more speed, give or take, but she kind of looked to have a bit more of a natural, looking body. That was just part of her R&R for the months that she's been gone. Hey, it looks great on her. I'm not knocking it in any type of way. She looked gorgeous. Straight up, she looked gorgeous. The fact that I even recognized her instantly. Yeah, look, no shit. She's gotten work on her chest and her face over the years, but from the Charlotte Flair that we last saw a couple of months ago to the Charlotte Flair that we saw tonight, in the face, it was her. You didn't need to look at anything else, just instantly, and like I said, just was wearing less makeup. So, and honestly, not for nothing, but if you happen to follow her on social media, then it's not as bad as you think as far as her face and all that. For those of you going, my God, did she do something to her? If you're following her on social media like I am, I follow her on Twitter. So any updates, I actually follow her on Twitter, and I actually follow Andrade. So whenever one's not posting something, the other one usually is, and I don't even have to go out of my way. It just pops up in my feed and I'm able to see what's going on. She's looked the same pretty much the entire time. If you guys are kind of freaked out at her face tonight, God, you should see how she looks when she's not wearing makeup. That's all I gotta say. Can we address the big elephant in the room, though? What was going on with Nia Jax's uniform? Her costume tonight? What was going on with that? I couldn't quite put my finger on it, but I'm looking at this and I'm just, oh, honey, boo-boo child. No. Why that color scheme? Of all the color schemes, why that color scheme? Why couldn't we have the black be the dominating and the gold be, well, flip it? I mean, she was wearing these colors and I'm going, why does she remind me of something? Who does she remind me of? And I'm just kicking back and I'm going, it'll come to me. I'm watching this match. I mean, her costume tonight was distracting as fuck in a negative way. Go peep out her costume if you didn't watch it tonight. It's very distracting as fuck. Finally, it dawned upon me. Holy shit. She's dressed like the Cowardly Lion from The Wizard of Oz. I bullshit you not. Just fucking pull up the image of the Cowardly Lion from The Wizard of Oz and match it up to the costume that she was wearing tonight, and you guys will have the biggest fucking laugh, a hysterical laugh at that. I promise you. I ain't doubling. I ain't backing away from that. I'm doubling down on that. That's exactly how she looked. I was not fond of that costume. I did not find that flattering for her, and I think she's a gorgeous looking woman. Hey, I like my women thick, man, and she's beautiful. But that costume, man, I don't know what's going on, but from time to time, my girl be wearing some, what the fuck are you wearing costumes? And tonight was one of those what the fuck costumes. Needless to say, good matchup between all four of these girls. Look, can we be honest? The team of Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler as the tag champions just hasn't been clicking that well from what we've been seeing on programming all these months. It just hasn't. You almost felt that, and I wouldn't be surprised if when the trigger was initially pulled for these girls to be the tag champions, if you were kind of like me, hey, all right, opposites attract here. Okay, maybe there's something here. Maybe there's something here to the point, Shayna particularly, whatever, from Nia, it'll rub off on Shayna. And sadly, that never happened. Never happened for Shayna. Now, putting that to the side, maybe as far as just a dominating tag team and dominating champions, defending champions, taking on all newcomers and just destroying the competition, we ain't really get that from those girls. So you almost kind of feel as though in retrospect, when these girls had got the tag titles, that you're just placeholders right now until we can kind of figure out what we can eventually do with these tag titles. So for me, Asuka, Charlotte Flair, the rivalries that these girls have had over the years, I mean that's a fucking story arc in itself that culminates in these girls putting their differences to the side to become a tag team and then bring the ruckus to Nia and fucking Shayna. Oh yeah, I do like the sound of that. Yeah, sign me up for that. That's what's up. So I like what's going on with the tag division. And look, my biggest takeaway, I just hope that this go round, I just hope that Charlotte Flair has fun with this. I really, really do. Because remember, there was one point in time there where we kind of saw Charlotte Flair was just floating. Remember? It wasn't a time, not that long ago, Charlotte Flair was not involved in the world title picture. She was just floating around there, having her matches, and then she was in a little bit of a tag team there, so to speak. Anybody remember that? Corey Graves went on his podcast talking about, look at Charlotte Flair. You can tell she doesn't like what's going on with her placement in the company right now, nor should she. She should always be at the very top. She should be going after championships. She should be like a multi-time world champion. What's going on here? This is a disservice to her. Anybody remember Corey Graves on his, After the Bell podcast? And the choice words that he had to say about how Charlotte Flair was being booked? And you could just tell when you look back that it doesn't come off as if Charlotte's really having any fun with this. I just hope that this go round, Charlotte, okay, now she's a co-holder for a tag title. I just hope this go round, whatever was passed is passed, and okay, how can I help? How can I help this division? How can I help all the women involved here? How can I help us all? How can I help the company? I really hope this go around, because when you have that kind of mindset, everybody, including yourself, that's when the real fun and the magic begins. So this union of Asuka, Charlotte, has a lot of potential to be one of the best tag team women champions to date. They just got to go out there and, we just got to see what happens. So I'm optimistic. I really hope, because just on paper, it's got a lot of potential. So we'll see what happens there. Roman Reigns taking on Kevin Owens. Tables, ladders, and chairs match for the WWE Universal Championship. I gave high marks for Randy Orton taking on The Fiend Bray Wyatt. I got to give high marks for Roman Reigns taking on Kevin Owens. This would be my other match of the year candidate, and that's no bullshit. Both men, man, I got to tell you, the psychology in this match. You want to look at some really good ring psychology here, and this match is where you will find it. I love the fact that Roman Reigns does his epic entrance and everything. And you think, okay, all right, he's made his epic entrance. Now we're going to get the music of Kevin Owens and he's going to come out and all that other. No. We don't even get that. Roman Reigns is in the ring. Music playing. Kevin Owens just out of nowhere starts beating the holy shit out of Roman. Loved it. That's exactly how you need to start this fight, because this is not a wrestling match. This is a goddamn fight. You think about one of the last times we saw KO. Roman Reigns was bringing the ruckus. Roman Reigns was bringing the hurt to this man. Sending a message to KO's wife and kids. Ooh, yeah. You gonna go that personal? Yeah, next time I see you, I'm beating that ass. So the fact that the match, or, the fight feel to it, yeah, I love that. Great psychology that went into this. It was just the little things that I was just really taken back by. And I never really stopped and looked at this match, because what I mean by that statement is I never did really stop and say, oh, Roman Reigns, Kevin Owens. I never said, this could be an instant classic. I focused so much on, okay, I'm supposed to take Kevin Owens as a legit threat to Roman Reigns' championship. I mean, we just went from the Kevin Owens, hey, I like hot dogs. I'm a everyday man. I'm an everyday fan, just like you guys. Yeah, that's the Kevin Owens we were getting. I just want to have fun. I just want to enjoy myself. That's the Kevin Owens we were getting. And now I'm supposed to take him as a serious number one contender threat to Roman Reigns. I was so focused on that, I never even gave thought to, well, what about this match itself? Will this be an instant classic? And I promise you, if I would have spent a little bit more time just even giving a thought to that, my answer definitely would have been a resounding yes, this will be an instant classic. Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns, the one thing that I love about both of these men, and this is something that you just cannot teach. You just cannot teach. When you're across the ring from that other opponent and y'all are throwing down, you got to go with the feeling of the match. You got to go with the flow and whatever feels natural. Then you go with the flow. Not everything has to be so goddamn mechanical, step by step, move by move, so fucking choreographed. It's okay to have a lot of things be a bit loose. And I tell you, Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens, they gelled so well as far as that looseness, ring psychology at its finest. One moment that really just had me marvel in the brilliance of Kevin Owens, something that you just can't teach. Prime example. One point during the match, action is going outside of the ring. Roman Reigns has Kevin Owens over his shoulders, and he's literally getting ready to do a Samoan drop on Kevin Owens through a wooden table. And right as Roman Reigns picks up KO, he's got him over his shoulders and everything, he walks him back towards that wooden table. You see for a hot 3 seconds, Kevin Owens shakes his head like, no, you're not putting me through that. Just 3 seconds. It's those little things like that. Anybody else would probably just be sitting there on that person's shoulders and just have this glare look in their fucking face, just looking up at the sky or just. But it's little things like that that makes great ring psychology, great match psychology. You just can't teach. It's just natural. You got to just be in the moment. You got to feel. And Roman KO right there, that spot, really fucking good. Unhinged Roman Reigns continuing to talk shit. Loving it. Come on, man. You know me by now when it comes to this unhinged Roman Reigns. I'm there. I'm eating that shit up like it's popcorn. Gimme some more. Roman Reigns just smacking the hell out of Kevin Owens. Stay down, man. What the hell are you doing? Come on, man. You don't want no more of this. Come on, what are you doing? Come on, man. Think about your family, man. Your family got to continue to eat. Come on, man. Just to stay down. Come on, I'm your chief, man. Just to stay down. You don't want this. And Kevin Owens just getting up to his feet, smacking the shit out of Roman Reigns, and Roman Reigns just comes right back like, motherfucker, hits him with a spear. I mean, damn near freaking killed Kevin Owens, or so we thought, because he basically speared Owens through a wooden table, one side of the corner of the ring there. You're going, well, surely this is it. You got Kevin Owens at one point, he's like, nah, you're going to have to kill me. You're going to have to kill me. Jey Uso, the spots with Jey Uso in there, I mean, you kind of knew that Jey Uso was going to get involved, and rightfully so. I mean, you kind of figured that. I think what was probably the bigger question was whether or not Jimmy was going to get involved. We didn't see Jimmy get involved. We did not see him get involved. Was a little bit perplexed by that, but you know what? Was he really needed? Nah, it was okay. Yeah, and the other thing that I loved about this match was the fact that it looked as though Owens, like, legitimately, you thought, whoa, maybe this guy is gonna pull the upset here. There's a couple of times where you're going, I think he might become champion. I think he might do it. He actually might. But it didn't go down like that. This was a damn good banger of a fucking match. The built-in storyline, the Jey Uso stuff, beautifully executed. Easily one of my favorite matches of the night, besides the Firefly Inferno match. Damn good pay-per-view overall. Especially the SmackDown Women's Titles match. I mean, I can't believe how well executed that was and how taken back I was by Carmella's work. I mean, overall, scale of 1 to 10, I would give this pay-per-view a respected... I would give this pay-per-view a respected... I don't think I can go any higher. I really want to give it a 9. I really want to give this pay-per-view a 9 out of 10. Thinking about that Miz stuff, though. That's the thing. That Miz stuff, that kind of... So I think I would probably bump it down to a 9, maybe. Maybe I'd bump it down to a 9. No, I'm sorry, an 8. Maybe I'd bump it down to an 8. Let me just look at this card one more time here. Let me just look at this card one more time. You know what? I'm going to give it a 9. 9 out of 10. Let's see what you guys had to say. I gave you guys enough time to swing on back and give some thoughts on the pay-per-view. If you didn't vote yet, go to Twitter at the RCWR Show, or you can vote on the YouTube Communities tab. Go to youtube.com/the RCWR Show. Click the Communities tab. Cast your vote that way. Twitter, we are on now. 8% of you gave the pay-per-view a thumbs down. Meanwhile, 92% of you gave TLC a thumbs up. YouTube, we go to now. And let's see what you guys are saying on there. All right, I still got it loading up here. 100% of you via YouTube in the Communities tab are giving the pay-per-view a thumbs up. Again, 100% of you are giving the pay-per-view a thumbs up. Now, if you got access to one of those two platforms, you don't have to spam out and vote twice. Just pick one of those platforms and catch. And I would like to know. I definitely would like to know. If anybody is interested in maybe calling into the show and sounding off on your thoughts of the pay-per-view, let me know. And I can definitely patch you into the show while I'm still live for the next little bit. I am going to use this time to kind of scroll back, look at some of the comments that's coming in. And while I'm doing that, as far as programming notes go, so in case you missed it, all this week, it was Old Man Lee week, basically birthday week. Monday, we kicked it off with a new RCWR show. Then by Wednesday night, I had released an all new Impact Showdown covering Impact Wrestling Fallout. So if you guys were not aware of that episode, it's available wherever you get your podcasts, available on demand and on the downloads. Thursday, stopped on by Wrestling Soup, hung out with my good friend Anthony Missionary Thomas. That episode has been well received. Always a great time when I hang out with my good friend Missionary Thomas. So check that out. That's available wherever you get your podcasts as well. Let me see. Friday going into Saturday, a new Wrestling with the Topics was recorded with myself and the beautiful and the lovely Tammy. That's available on Patreon, patreon.com/RCWR show. Sign up, $5 a month. You can check out bonus audio, video content, a lot of exclusive content you're not going to be able to find anywhere else. Speaking of which, we got to get into some Patreon shout outs. As we have a new Patreon member, we definitely want to recognize and say welcome aboard. Shout out to the following Patreon members. And I love shouting out our Patreon members. You know, it may sound a little bit redundant to some folks, but you guys have no idea, man. Like expenses for the show, it could be a pain in the ass, especially when you're trying to make sure you have college tuition, because I'm going to be going back to school beginning January. So I'm doing that. I'm doing all types of stuff that's kind of outside the show, but overall is going to help the show in the long haul. So things can get rather expensive, especially with the show expenses. And our Patreon members, they always come through, man. I love our Patreon members, big time. Shout out to Justin Ripstock. Shout out to you, my friend. Shout out to also Michael Wolf, John Davis, Tony Bing Gaming. You want the very latest in all things Marvel Strike Force, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, Marvel's Avengers, Tony Bean Gaming tips, tricks, news, walkthroughs, reviews, whole 9 yards. He's on YouTube. Just look up Tony Bean Gaming. He has a Patreon page as well. Same name, Tony Bean Gaming. Love him. Gino Morgan, Freddie, and shout out to our newest Patreon member, Anthony DeBlasi, aka Don Tony. Surprised me. I was chilling at work on Saturday. I was on my lunch break, and I'm just checking my emails. Like, meet your newest Patreon member. I'm like, oh, what's going on here? And I'll say it was Don Tony. I said, oh, shit. I'm like, what a great belated birthday present. That's pretty badass. So welcome to DT. And yeah, be like DT, be like Gino, be like all of those guys. Sign up on Patreon, $5 a month. Check out the content. All right. So, yeah, as far as programming notes go, Monday, we got an all new, the RCWR show. We're going to be on after Raw goes off the air. So we'll be streaming live on all the usual platforms. So tune in for that. Also, I'm looking at my work schedule right now. And it looks like Tuesday, I'm going to be on live. We're going to do a special live edition of Impact Showdown for you guys. Actually, you know what? Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this week's Impact is not new, if I'm not mistaken. It's not new. They're doing a best of, and I think they're doing year-end awards because they're going to be celebrating the best of 2020 on Impact, if I remember that right. So actually, we don't have to worry about Impact Showdown. I believe we're going to be doing something Wednesday, though. I got to see what's going on with AEW Dynamite, because I could have sworn they said something about they were going to be on as soon as a NBA game on TNT went off the air or something like that, if I heard that right. So we're going to have to play that by the ear. But I know for certain Thursday, there's going to be a special mainstream edition of Wrestling with the Topics hosted by me and the missus. So you guys definitely want to tune in for that. We're going to drop that off for you guys Christmas Eve. So check that out. That's going to be good shit. All right. See what you guys are saying in the chat here. Let's see. BS actually gave Vince McMahon props tonight for this pay-per-view. He said, thanks, Vince. Okay, all right now. Somebody enjoyed what they saw there. Alvino was talking about the Firefly Inferno match. He said that match was so good. Shout out to you. And let's see, who else we got here? Albino, my wife woke up and said, what? Somebody got to be set on fire. I knew right then and there that WWE had a winner with this match. Awesome. That's awesome. What else we got here? He gave the pay-per-view an 8.5 out of 10. Manu, Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens was amazing. Let's see what else we got here. Steven, I'm happy Charlotte is back. I'm glad that they took the titles off of Shayna and Nia Jax. Let's see, Jackie D. They want to make it like Undertaker with multiple lives like you suggested. So earlier when I was talking about The Fiend, Bray Wyatt, like, is he officially dead now, or Jackie is under the same impression that I'm under as far as, yeah, no, I think they're going to have him come back. He's got like 9 lives. He can never die. Yeah, I mean, can't help but wonder, right? Manu gave the pay-per-view a 9 out of 10. All right. Let's see what else we got here. Well, I'm almost in real time here, by the way. Let's see what else we got. Looks like we're caught up. Let me make sure I'm not missing anything else here. Nah, it looks like we're caught up. Good. Looks like we're caught up. Do me a favor. huge favor. Make sure you smash the like button. And if you haven't subscribed yet, do subscribe because that helps out tremendously. Can't stress that enough. It helps out tremendously. And give me a follow on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Use the keywords, the RCWR show. And Be Kind Rewind. Check out previous episodes of the RCWR show you may have missed on demand and on the downloads. Available, pretty much wherever you get your podcasts, right? So check that out. Good shit right there. And other than that, I'm going to say this is a show. We did pretty good. We can wrap this up. Let me see how long we've been on the air now. So we have essentially done 93 minutes. I mean, that's pretty damn good, right? We made our point in like 93 minutes, so that's good. Other than that, I'm just trying to think if there's anything else. Oh, I knew there was something. Hang on 1 second here. So look, real talk with regards to WWE Raw. Look, as we know, Vince McMahon is supposed to be on Raw once again, talking about shaking things up and all that. It's that yearly deal. We hear about this a lot. And what does this usually entail when it comes to Vince McMahon shaking things up? All right, he's either going to do something with the fucking draft or, you name it. Okay? I'm like this. I've gotten to a point where I've started to become a bit numb when it comes to, shaking things up. It wasn't that long ago that Vince McMahon said, hey, we know that you guys aren't appreciating what's currently happening with the WWE product. And as a result of that, we are going to do our very best to, make the product be good again. We're going to listen to you guys. You guys are the boss. You guys are in charge. This is your show. We're taking back the show from guys like Baron Corbin. And, they try to put the blame on all these other things without really truly taking self-accountability. But as I like to quote a Don Henley song, Heart of the Matter, when you do get down to the heart of the matter, Vince McMahon, and pretty much the rest of family, we're saying, nah, you know what? We fucked this up, man. We fucked this up. We know we fucked this up, but we're going to get back to good. We promise you guys, we're going to get back to good. And that wasn't that long ago. That was not that long ago. And we've seen what has come about. There's been a tiny little bit of good. There's been a lot of bad. So for me, my point, when I look at this draft or whatever the announcement is that's getting ready to happen with Vince McMahon, I gotta truly be a realist and say, okay, whatever he's going to announce, that might be good for that respected week. That might give WWE Raw a nice little boost in the ratings for that particular week. But what's going to happen the next week and the week after that? What's going to happen a month from now, 3 months from now? We're going to be continuing to do this up and down type of deal. And there's only but so many times we can continue to break this glass in case of an emergency and pull this lever, because when we pull this lever, Vinnie Mac will come and save the day. There's only but so much of that that's going to continue to happen. I mean, what? Are we going to get to that point where Vince McMahon has a series of strokes and all that shit, and he's in a wheelchair and ratings are so bad that we got to wheel his ass out just so he can try to get us an additional 500,000 viewers for that respected week? I mean, seriously. I don't know what's going to be happening as far as this announcement goes. To the question that was asked earlier about, hey, maybe if they bring Rhea Ripley or maybe if they bring Shotzi Blackheart or maybe if they bring the Undisputed Era or maybe if they bring back Finn Balor. We see how great he's been doing it down there in NXT. Maybe they can finally get it. Look, I gotta tell you guys, for the first time, as long as I have been on the air, long as I've been doing podcasts, I've been doing podcasts since 2011. This has to be the one time where I'm putting my foot down and I'm going, no, fucking no. This is not the fucking time to be saying, well, maybe Raw and SmackDown will be okay if they get a Rhea Ripley on the main roster. Maybe what's going on with the current WWE product is that they don't have Undisputed Era. No, maybe what they need is to call this person up or call that person up. No, that is not the answer. For the first time, as long as I've been doing podcasts, I'm putting my foot down and I'm saying, no, that's not the answer. You know what the fucking answer is? The fucking answer is for Vince McMahon to step aside. Do the right thing. Step aside. Let Paul Levesque, Shane O'Mac, Stephanie McMahon, let them run all three of the shows. But that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen because Vinnie Mac, he is so goddamn stubborn. Vinnie Mac is going to if he can have it his way, he is going to fucking die while he's in charge. And it's becoming more and more legit when you really stop and think about it. But then even at that, so many people are calling for, when Vince dies. Well, I'm sorry, I hate to burst that bubble, but just because whenever the time comes, Vince is no longer on this green earth, that doesn't mean that, just like that, our problems are solved. Vince is dead, so our problems are solved. No. The business, as you're watching it right now in the WWE, especially when it comes to those shows, it could still operate the way that it's currently operating. You could say to me, Raw is too long in length. And I can say to you, it doesn't matter if it's 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours every single week. What's the number one thing that I always tell you guys from time to time on this show? I always tell you guys quality over quantity. Quality over quantity. Many people can disregard the quantity if the quality is that damn good. Quantity won't even matter. So for me, you could tell me till you're blue in the face. Nah, if they just call up this, no. Calling up, there needs to be a fucking freeze on calling up people. No more call-ups. How about first, we fucking do what we need to do with the talents that we already have that's part of the two shows right now. Because you have a pretty damn good ensemble of athletes between all the shows. There's no fucking denying that. So it's not the quality of your athletes that you have stretched across all three brands that's the issue. No, the issue that you're having right now is the way these shows are being written, largely in part. You can't just say, I just got to put a Band-Aid over this. And no, if there's an infection, that infection needs to be cleaned properly. You got to put in that peroxide and all that other shit depending on the severity of that wound. You got to clean it up properly. You got to make sure it's healed up properly and all that. You can't just, we're going to put this Band-Aid over it. Then when that Band-Aid starts to do its wear and tear, okay, well, we'll just take another Band-Aid and we'll place that Band-Aid over the other Band-Aid and kind of hold that in place. It's still good. It's still good. We can still do something with this. That's how Vince McMahon and crew are operating right now. And it's very unfortunate. They've got the talents that's already there. They just fucking need to fucking regroup and be like, okay, AEW was kicking our ass there for the 3 hours that we were on the air. AEW, they kicked our ass in the viewership. They kicked our ass in the age demographics. This is our flagship show. What the fuck are we doing wrong here? It's time to really open your eyes, see what's going on with the other competition, learn how to try and adapt, learn how to try to get with the times. Nobody is saying, hey, we need to see bloody fucking matches. Blood needs to return. There needs to be titties and ass matches. Nobody is saying any of those things. Hey, look, I know the Attitude Era was the Attitude Era, but not everything was popping and good about the Attitude Era. I'll be the first to fucking tell you that. Where there's a whole bunch of people that's clamoring for the Attitude Era to come back, I'm one of the truest, realest mofos that'll tell you not everything was good about the Attitude Era. Mae Young giving birth to a right hand or a hand. Katie Vick, Triple H. Hello? No. So it's not even about Attitude Era coming back. I'm fine without the Attitude, but we'd be here all night if I mean, because I'm just getting a headache just thinking about that shit. But it's simple things that can be done to steer WWE overall in the right direction. I mean, if I were to just home in on a couple of things, look, as far as bright spots go, the shit that they got going on there with Roman Reigns, that's some of the best fucking creative shit that they are doing right now with one superstar. Phenomenal shit. Love it. Love it. What's going on with Big E as a single superstar? They're slowly chipping away telling Big E's story. I'm behind that. The little bit that I know, because again, I haven't been watching SmackDown the full 2 hours religiously. I've just been looking at clips online. But what I've been seeing of Big E, I like. It looks very promising. I just spent several minutes praising Carmella. Very promising. You talk about a character development that's really been successfully flushed out. You know, I think we need to do more character flushing out, more character developments and all that. Put it behind some very quality-like stories that a wrestling fan can get behind. Nobody said it has to always be serious. You can get away with the corny and the hokey dokey shit. You just got to make sure that it's catchy. You just got to make sure that the fans are hook, line, and sinker for it. I look at Raw, Her Business, one of the best things that they've got going on right now. The Retribution angle is the dribbling shits. It needs to end in 2020. It does not need to carry over into fucking 2021. And if it is going to carry into 2021, it needs to die by Royal Rumble, as far as I'm concerned. That shit didn't go nowhere. Raw Underground seemed as though it had a little bit of potential, but me personally, I thought they were going in the, everybody goes Fight Club, Fight Club, Fight Club. I kind of thought maybe they were going to go in the direction of Keanu Reeves' Man of Tai Chi. And I thought that ultimately, we were going to see a scenario where up for grabs was going to be a contract to be part of the Raw or SmackDown roster. I would have loved to seen eventually where that would have gone, but that got killed dead in its tracks. We haven't seen it or Shane O'Mac really return since. But again, good things. Hurt Business. They're popping. Charlotte Flair is back. That's great. She's teaming up with Asuka. That should be okay for a nice little bit. But with the exception of the Hurt Business, Asuka and Charlotte, what else do you really have on Raw? That's cute that you got Matt Riddle running around talking about some, hey, bro, you want to have a bro net? But other than that, what do you really got on the Raw side of things? If you really just take a step back and you really think about it. Yeah, Fiend and Orton, great shit. Great fucking shit. But now that essentially it looks as though Wyatt's been killed, until we know otherwise Monday night, what do we really, going forward? What do we really got? It's very limited. You feel what I'm saying? It's very, very limited. Just picture you're watching SmackDown. Once you get your unhinged Roman Reigns segment, once you get your Big E fix, you're done. You're done. You're like, what else is on? Once you are on Raw, once you get done with the Hurt Business, once you get done with Orton and The Fiend, for those of you that, care about Matt Riddle and his nuts, once you get past that, what do you really got? You ain't got nothing else. You're ready to see what else is on. So it's so fucking simple. Anybody that watches great quality TV such as The Walking Dead, or you watch This Is Us, Law and Order, SVU, you name it, whatever your favorite show is, The Mandalorian, for me, Star Trek Picard, you look at these great shows that are so excellent in the story of, in the quality of storytelling that they're able to tell. And particularly, you look at these shows that, like Star Trek Picard, they can make their point in 10 episodes, and they're running like 45 minutes, and they brilliantly give you Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, and they've got the carrot dangling the whole way, and that main carrot, these great sub-chapters that is filled with such great quality storytelling. WWE, when you look at all of the brands, they've got excellent athletes on their roster. Now you just gotta help these athletes flush out their characters more, and these rivalries with great quality storytelling that sets up these rivalries / matches, give these fans a reason to, oh, there's a pay-per-view coming up. Oh yeah, I gotta check that out. I need to check that out because there's shit that's been going on past couple of weeks on SmackDown or past couple of weeks on Raw. I got to see this. I got to see this. Instead of, goddamn, we just went through a WWE pay-per-view. They're doing another one? Sheesh. Hey. That's how we go. That's how we go. In all my years, Monday Night Raw has become, full disclosure, being very transparent here, Raw has become a chore. There used to be a time where I was truly excited to talk about Monday Night Raw. Truly excited. Now, I've gotten to a point where it's, man, of all the wrestling shows that I check out, Raw for me right now is at the bottom of the list as far as shows I'm very reluctant to watch. Because I know of those 3 hours, there's only going to be about 2-3 things that I'm really going to like, and everything else is going to be, eh. But I'm a loyalist. I've watched the WWE product since I was probably like 4-5 years old. So I'm a lifer. The good, the bad, the ugly. I'm always going to be there. And that's what WWE continues to hope, is that fans like you, fans like me, we're not the problem for them. They care more about those casual fans. Well, if you really care about those casual fans, again, you gotta focus on the quality. You can't keep focusing on the quantity. That's it in a nutshell for me. Well, we can talk a little bit more about that on Monday night, but sorry, I didn't mean to go off on that rant there, but just to kind of loop it back, when it comes to the whole talk of Vince shaking things up, it's like, again, you just got to have that in the back of your mind. Yeah, okay. That works for this past Monday, but what about after the fact? He's probably going to come out there tomorrow night. He's going to do some lame ass, oh, we're going to do another draft. We're going to do another fucking draft. Whoopie-doo. Whoopie-doo. Meanwhile, you've barely been able to get over the new talents that, okay, so, seriously. Seriously. Let's end it on that note. Get at me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Use the keywords, the RCWR Show. Your next edition will be on after Monday Night Raw goes off the air. A lot of stuff we're going to be getting into. We'll definitely talk about Raw, of course, the good, the bad, and the ugly, of course. But we'll have some wrestling headlines in there as well, some non-wrestling headlines as well. Trust me, it's going to be a fun show, especially as we are officially going into the Christmas week. It's going to be a solid episode. For those of you that checked out the show live, thank you kindly. Please, as you make your exit, make sure you hit the like button, the heart, share, retweet, all that good jazz. Helps out. I do read the comments. I pay attention to the interaction, so do that. And check out previous episodes you might have missed on demand and on the downloads wherever you get your podcasts. That is going to do it. I will have the audio of this be up in just a couple of hours because I do want to try to get this out ASAP, this pay-per-view recap. So if you guys are waiting for the audio version of this, just give me a little bit. It'll be available. But till next go around, wishing all y'all to be safe. Most importantly, be kind to one another.